Did you know that YouTube originally started off as an online dating service with the intended purpose of users uploading videos for their dating profiles onto YouTube? And did you know that Amazon originally started off as a college textbook rental service? Today, YouTube and Amazon Prime are both multi-billion-dollar streaming services. And they're not the only ones. There are plenty of streaming services that we can choose from, but that hasn't always been the case. We are Bad Media, and today we're going to talk about the history of the streaming wars and who really won and lost. But before we talk about that, here's a word from our sponsors. At least, this is where we'd put a word from our sponsor.
If I had one! Sorry, lost the happy, but the happy's back!
Streaming is a relatively novel invention in the course of human history, with it really only becoming a prevalent tool in the last decade. Streaming had originally began in the 90s as computer hardware and internet infrastructure were beginning to grow. With the invention of the Ethernet and the widespread adoption of the home and office computers, the ability to stream content was becoming increasingly more accessible, and what was once thought of as impossible looked ever more plausible. It was in 1993 that we see our first piece of live entertainment. The band Severe Tire Damage was the first group to perform live on the internet on June 24th, 1993. The band was performing at Palo Alto Research Center, at the time Xerox Park, as proof of concept that live entertainment could be streamed on the internet. On September 5th, 1995, we see the first worldwide live streaming event, an online radio live broadcast of a baseball game, presented and streamed by ESPN Sports Zone. The broadcast aired the Seattle Mariners beating the New York Yankees 6-5. Despite these handful of events, television programs and movies still were not readily available on the internet for streaming, not until the mid-2000s. 2005, we see the birth of YouTube. And during YouTube's infancy, we see the growth of a lot more content online. And this is a big thanks to piracy and licensed content being posted illegally. Around this time, we also begin to see Apple offering select television programs and series that could be downloaded and played off of your Apple devices. Amazon Unbox, Netflix, and Hulu weren't that far behind with their own streaming services. And in 2007, Apple released the first Apple TV. Shortly after, Roku released their first streaming device in 2008. By 2010, smart TVs, smartphones, and streaming services had become much more common. And by the mid-2010s, streaming was mainstream. In 2013, we even began to see recommendations for the Emmys for shows exclusively found on streaming platforms. Netflix's House of Cards, Arrested Development, and Hemlock Grove, all three being the first primetime Emmy Award nominations for streaming television series. 4 years later, in 2017, Hulu was the first of the streaming platforms to be able to bring home an Emmy, winning Outstanding Drama Series for The Handmaid's Tale at the 69th
Nice.
Primetime Emmy Awards. One of the things that helped streaming become so mainstream was the downfall of cable and the rise of cord cutting. Cord cutting is the act of canceling a subscription to these multi-channel television services and cable satellite companies in exchange for media found online. This trend really began to gain major momentum in the late 2000s due to several major factors. The increasing costs of multi-channel television, the increasing access to the internet, and growing number of streaming services. Cord cutting was a fast-growing trend as TV watchers grew more and more dissatisfied with the ever-increasingly expensive cost. 10 years ago, the average cost of cable was over $400. It was estimated that in 2008, approximately 1 million American households relied entirely on the internet for television viewing. By 2017, that figure had increased to more than 22.2 million people. By the late 2010s, about a half of Americans tried to get a better deal from a new provider elsewhere, rather than continuing with the paid subscription services that they had. By the late 2010s, live broadcasts like sports and news
I dropped my hot pocket.
were some of the only reasons that many people did not completely switch to streaming outright. But today, these can be found on a variety of streaming platforms too. As streaming became more and more prevalent, so did the idea of the home TV experience.
This, Mr. Valley, is the television scanning equipment.
In the 1920s, General Electric introduced television with a 4-inch screen. Fast forward 100 years later, VABA has engineered a massive 150-inch TV. The average TV size today is 55 inches. Compared to 10 years ago, the average TV was 38 inches. With the 2020s came the COVID-19 pandemic, which drastically altered the landscape in terms of how we consumed and watched media. Billions of people worldwide instantaneously became isolated within their homes. Many, unsurprisingly, turned towards streaming services to provide entertainment, levity, and a break from the monotony that was the quarantine. Today, streaming is still a major facet to our global culture, thanks to the advancement of technology like smartphones and smart TVs. There are hundreds of streaming services and platforms that people engage with daily, but which are the best? In all honesty and transparency, we're not going to be talking about or looking at every single streaming service. Instead, we can narrow our list down to the 6 largest: Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, YouTube, Disney+, and Max. But are they really worth your subscription? Hey, speaking about your subscription, don't forget to subscribe. And while you're at it, make sure to like and share this video and hit that bell to turn on notifications. We're a small channel and we really appreciate your guys' support. So thanks. Back to the video now. Today, when people think of streaming, they think of a red box and 7 white letters: Netflix. In 1997, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph launched Netflix with a small $2.5 million investment. From the very early on, Netflix wanted a website where the users could watch movies instantaneously, but the technology in the late 1990s and the early 2000s just wasn't there yet. Instead, they ran off a $20 a month subscription where you would have DVDs mailed to your home.
Wallace, quick! What movie should I rent?
You're banned from no account video. You owe like a gajillion dollars in late fees?
Not the rental place. I'm using the World Wide Web.
Originally, the pair considered mailing VHS tapes. However, VHS tapes were incredibly too delicate and costly to be shipped and stored. Instead, the duo turned to a new technology that was released earlier that year: DVDs, with Beetlejuice being the first DVD mailed to a Netflix subscriber.
It's showtime.
In the late 1990s, Jeffrey Bezos and Amazon offered to acquire Netflix for approximately $15 million, but were turned down. Unfortunately, by the 2000s, Netflix was hemorrhaging money and proposed an offer to sell 49% of the company for $50 million to Blockbuster. Reportedly, John Antioco, the CEO of Blockbuster at the time, thought the proposal was a joke and declined. And we all see how well that worked out for them.
You know who else thought my price was too high? BitRaptor.
Who?
Exactly.
In 2007, Netflix introduced streaming to its website, offering 1,000 movies to stream online, which was a much smaller collection compared to the over 7,000 movies available for mailing. 4 years later, Netflix announced that it would separate its mailing services from its online streaming, as it was starting to produce original content. By 2013, Netflix had its own original series with House of Cards and Orange is the New Black. With the following year, Netflix produced and created multiple other new series to help flesh out their own Netflix originals, like Marco Polo, Daredevil, and The Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt. By the mid-2010s, Netflix was a worldwide streaming platform with hundreds of millions of subscribers. In 2016, Netflix became a true household name with their massively successful franchise, Stranger Things. A science fiction horror drama that was the breakout role for Millie Bobby Brown. With the pandemic in the early 2020s, it's no surprise that Netflix saw a massive growth to its subscriber count and views for their content. Then with 2021's Squid Game, which in the first 28 days garnered more than 1.6 billion hours of watch time. But Netflix wouldn't see this success forever, with 2022 being the first time in years that Netflix lost subscribers, losing over 1 million subscribers. Today, shows like Stranger Things still dominate their most popular list, but now shares the spotlight with other shows like Money Heist, Bridgerton, Dahmer, Wednesday, or some shows that we've talked about on this channel too, like Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, or the Netflix One Piece live action adaptation. Definitely go check those videos out if you haven't. Anyways, these shows have helped Netflix gain back many of their lost subscribers in 2022. Today, Netflix has almost 250 million subscribers. And with that many subscribers, it's pretty apparent that they're netting in a pretty penny with their subscriptions. Netflix has 3 subscriptions. The standard with ads at $6.99 a month, standard, which is $15.49 a month, or premium, coming in at a whopping $22.99 a month. If Netflix is the Mario, then Hulu is obviously its Luigi. And that's not just a color scheme thing. After Netflix's launch, a bunch of Hollywood executives got together and realized there was a lot of money that could be made in streaming television. Thus, on October 29, 2007, a private beta site was launched, a joint venture between AOL, Comcast, Facebook, MSN, MySpace, and Yahoo. NBC and Fox quickly found a home on Hulu. Hulu officially launched its on-demand streaming service. Hulu Plus began producing its own original projects, such as Battleground and Spoilers. Hulu Plus changed its name to Hulu in 2015, and 1 year later, The Handmaid's Tale helped bring home the first outstanding drama series to a streaming service. Over the years, Hulu had many partnerships such as ABC, Disney, Fox, FX, National Geographic, Sony Pictures, and Warner Brothers. And in 2016, Hulu launched Hulu with Live TV, later then rebranded to Hulu Plus Live TV. At the end of the 2010s, Disney acquired 21st Century Fox and thus giving Disney a 60% majority stake in Hulu. And in 2022, Disney announced that it would buy out Comcast and merge Hulu and Disney Plus together. With FX properties like Fargo and The Bear, and its originals like The Handmaid's Tale and Solar Opposites, Hulu has been able to grow to a sizable streaming platform with approximately 48 million subscribers despite living in the ever-oppressing shadow of Netflix. Today, Hulu costs $7.99 a month or $7.99 a year for ads, or $17.99 a month for no ads. In 1995, during the dot-com bubble, Jeffrey Bezos founded Amazon, an online bookstore. With slow but steady growth, Amazon has become the multi-billion-dollar company that we know of today. Despite its unsuccessful attempt at purchasing Netflix, Amazon did not give up at becoming a streaming service themselves. And in 2006, Amazon launched Amazon Unbox, a distribution and download service where users could buy digital movies to download. Amazon Unbox became part of the Amazon Prime and was later renamed Amazon Video On Demand. And in 2011, rebranded again to Amazon Instant Video On Demand. And by 2013, began featuring movies from MGM Plus, formerly known as Epix, and its own exclusive titles like the comedy series Alpha House and Betas. In 2015, Amazon Instant Video On Demand again went under another rebrand and came out as Amazon Prime Video. In the early 2020s, Amazon acquired MGM Studios and secured a deal with Universal Pictures, franchises like The Fast and the Furious, Jurassic Park, and the Bourne franchise. And with its own shows like The Grand Tour, The Boys, Invincible, and so many more. It's no surprise that Amazon Prime Video has become a major streaming platform. Now, technically, Amazon Prime Video has over 200 million subscriptions, but that's because if you have Amazon Prime, you have Prime Video. Today, Prime costs $14.99 a month or $139.99 a year. The early 2000s, video sharing was still in its infancy, but along comes Justin Timberlake. During February 1st, 2004, the New England Patriots were beating the Carolina Panthers 14-10 at the Super Bowl halftime, featuring Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake, P. Diddy, Nelly, Kid Rock, and Jessica Simpson. During the duet of Rock Your Body between Justin and Janet, near the end, Timberlake reached the final line of Rock Your Body and pulled off a part of Janet Jackson's costume. The move revealed Jackson's right breast adorned by a sun-shaped nipple shield for less than 1 second. This event, along with the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami, would inspire Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jawed Kameer to create YouTube. Originally, YouTube was planned to be an online dating service, but due to the lack of users and videos led to a change of concept in which YouTube would allow video uploads of any kind. In 2005, YouTube was founded with its first upload being Me at the Zoo, which was posted by one of its founders, Jaywood Kamin, while at the San Diego Zoo.
That they have really long fronts, and that's cool. And that's pretty much all there is to say.
YouTube really became known to the public in December 2005 after Saturday Night Live aired its first video short called Lazy Sunday. It aired at the end of the episode, which was also the season finale.
Wake up in the late afternoon, call Parnell just to see how he's doing.
Shortly after, in 2006, YouTube was purchased by Google for a whopping $1.65 billion. And at the time, many people believed this was a major financial mistake by Google. But as time has shown, Google has made the right bet. In November 2008, Google reached an agreement with Metro, Goldwyn, and Mayer Inc., or MGM, to show some of their studio's full-length movies and television shows. By the 2010s, YouTube was massive, with millions of users. In 2013, YouTube launched its first subscription service, Premium, a subscription-based channels. This was discontinued and relaunched in 2018 with channel memberships. In 2014, they came out with Music Key, a music subscription. Later in 2015 with YouTube Red and YouTube Music. In 2017, YouTube entered the live TV streaming with YouTube TV. YouTube is home to massive content creators and companies that make a variety of content from Mr. Beast to PewDiePie or Markiplier and Ludwig, Good Mythical Morning, The Try Guys, First We Feast. There really is an unlimited amount of choices and content that you can choose to watch. So thanks for choosing us. We really do appreciate it. Today, more than 1.3 people use YouTube per month. Over 300 hours of videos are uploaded to YouTube every single minute, and almost 5 billion videos are watched daily, with the new GTA 6 trailer being one of the fastest watched videos in history, which we also made a video on, so why don't you go check that out. Today, YouTube has 4 main subscription platforms. YouTube Music, which is $10.99 a month or $109.99 a year. YouTube Premium, $10.99 and $109.99 a year, with rentals and purchases included. And YouTube TV, which gives you live TV and sports, $72.99 additionally. Disney Plus and Max share a similar situation in that they're both new streaming services from an already existing media giant. With the House of Mouse being around since the 1920s, the Walt Disney Corporation owns a few properties. But despite that, it wasn't until 2018 that they established their own streaming platform. Prior to this, the Walt Disney Corporation had a deal with Netflix. Back in 2012, Disney and Netflix had entered into a deal where Netflix would get select movies and shows for streaming and produce some originals. However, it wasn't until 2016 that this deal went into full effect. Around the same time, the MLB Advanced Media spinoff, BAMTech, began establishing what would become ESPN+. In 2017, Disney acquired controlling stake of BAMTech and announced the split from Netflix. In 2018, the Walt Disney Corporation released their first streaming platform, ESPN+, and building off ESPN+, Disney Plus was born. After 1 year, Disney Plus had over 86 million subscribers, in part because of its, at the time, new properties like The Mandalorian and the direct-to-Disney Plus release of Black Widow. And by the end of 2022, they reported having more than 160 million subscribers. Disney is an already established and well-known and well-liked brand for many people, so it's no surprise that their user base grew so fast. With a plethora of IPs and almost unlimited money, Disney has been able to pump out a massive amount of content that helped fill out Disney Plus catalogs for properties like Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, Pixar, and many more. Today, Disney Plus has 2 subscription options: Basic for $7.99 a month, or Premium for $13.99 a month or $139.99 a year. To talk about Max, we need to talk about HBO. HBO and its parent company, Warner Brothers, has attempted to secure a place as one of the streaming giants many times, with varying degrees of success. HBO, or Home Box Office Entertainment, is America's oldest subscription television service, with it beginning back in 1972. HBO, for the majority of its life, was a television/cable subscription rather than a streaming service. In 2010, Warner Bros. Launched HBO Go, a stream anywhere service for already HBO cable customers. And in 2015, they launched HBO Now, an additional streaming service for non-cable subscriptions. With the two different streaming services, this obviously led to confusion amongst consumers. Despite this confusion, HBO was fairly successful, many thanks to its legacy accounts and massive shows like Game of Thrones, Silicon Valley, Boardwalk Empire, and Veep, bringing in new users. By the end of the 2010s, HBO had over 35 million subscribers, but only 6 million were on their subscription service-only platform, HBO Now. In 2020, Warner Bros. Phased out HBO Go and HBO Now and replaced them both with one service, HBO Max, the all-in-one stop for HBO and Warner Bros. Content, pulling their 29 million cable subscribers and 6 million HBO Now subscribers into one place. In 2022, the merger that created Warner Bros. Discovery Inc. also led to the most recent change from HBO Max to Max. And in addition to Max, Warner Bros. Discovery Inc. also incorporated another flagship streaming platform, Discovery Plus. Since the merger, Max has struggled to maintain subscribers, but has shown some growth thanks to properties that can be found on Max include The Last of Us, Euphoria, the DC Entertainment Library, House of Dragons, and thousands of other shows and movies. Today, Max has 3 subscription tiers: Ad Lite for $9.99 a month or $99.99 a year, Ad Free $15.99 a month or $149.99 a year, and Ultimate $19.99 a month or Jesus Christ, or $199.99 a year. Today, we have an abundance of streaming platforms, all vying for your subscription. The streaming industry is constantly growing with more streaming services available every year. The streaming industry is expected to be worth approximately $330 billion by 2030. And since the start of the pandemic, the numbers of subscribers has increased across all streaming platforms. Today, 85% of households pay for at least one streaming service. Streaming has become a major form of media consumption and a profitable industry. Interestingly enough, since the start of this year, we have seen a litany of price hikes and tier subscriptions across all major streaming platforms. When Netflix first began streaming in 2011, it cost $7.99 for unlimited ad-free access. Today, to get the same thing, it costs almost twice as much at $15.49 a month. Hulu with ads used to be free. Today it costs $7.99 to watch Hulu with ads. But if we want no ads, it's going to cost you $17.99. And this still doesn't get us live TV. Amazon, $79 to $139 a year. YouTube, $9.99 to $10.99, plus additional $79 a month if you want live TV. Disney Plus, in only the couple years that it's been out, $6.99 to $13.99. HBO Now, the predecessor to Max, costs $14.99. To get the same service, you would need to pay $19.99. Today, each major platform has a set of different tiers you can pick from, with the cheapest including commercials, limited number of devices, and lower quality in both resolution and audio. It used to be possible to find multiple projects and franchises on a single streaming platform. Today, each streaming service has their own exclusively licensed content, requiring subscribers to have multiple subscription services so they can see all content possible. Many are beginning to argue that the fragmentation of the market and the price increasing of subscriptions has defeated the purpose of cord cutting, as consumers are now being required to spend more and more on multiple different services in order to access their desired content. Along with price hikes, we have seen another trend: the loss of content. One of the most appealing features to online streaming is the sheer number of available content that consumers can watch. Netflix canceled over 100 of their projects, with Agent Elvis, Captain Fall, Glamorous, and the incredibly well-received and popular show Shadow and Bone. When HBO Max became Max, we saw a similar trend where they removed almost 100 shows, including Minx, Westworld, and Legendary. Disney has already removed over 50 shows and movies from Disney and Hulu. And while you can purchase movies and TV shows from Amazon and YouTube, both can remove paid for content, which means while you still technically own it, you cannot access it on their platforms. Today, consumers pay more across all subscription service, have access to less content, and are bombarded by more advertisement, which is a stark comparison to what streaming offered 10 years ago. Additionally, streaming platforms have been known to harvest and steal and sell user data. In addition to the increasing costs, less content, and more advertisement, we the consumers are now a product too. It's very apparent that the winners of the streaming war are not an individual company, but rather the conglomerate of these massive multi-billion-dollar companies, their CEOs and shareholders who rake in more money every year, and the losers being us, the consumers, who have to pay more for less content today. Just as we saw with cord cutters, we began to see an increase of online streaming platform subscribers leaving their subscriptions. Rather, they're now flocking to other places, such as Plex, or finding their content illegally through pirated websites. This has led to a new age of media consumption. What do you think's in the future for how we consume media? And do you think these streaming platforms like Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Amazon, Disney Plus, and Max are here to stay? And do you think these prices are continue to grow more and more? We want to hear your thoughts. Make sure you leave them in a comment below. As always, thanks for watching. We're Bad Media. Peace.